Hello everyone, so today we'll be talking about functions once again. I want to talk about callback function today, but let's talk about functions a bit more and then we'll jump into callback functions. So we've already known functions for a while now. So how do we define a function? We say function, then give a function name, and then define the parameter, and then define the return statement. So function will essentially take some input and then do something with that input, or we can use functions without inputs as well. Let's go ahead and see this one. Let's say function square. So this is the function definition, as we can see here, defining functions, function declarations. So we define the function like this: function, then the name of the function, so in this case it is square, and then define the not argument but parameters. So when we define the function, within the brackets we define the parameters. We can give multiple parameters like this, let's say number, and let's say string as well. And let's log out the string. Okay, so if we go to console now, we'll see that we get nothing because we haven't called the function yet. So to see a function's result, or to get something from the function, we must call it first, otherwise we won't see anything. As you can see, here's nothing. So let's call the function. So how do we call a function? We do square, the function name, and then a first bracket open and close. So we call functions like this. And now if we go to the log, we can see it is undefined. Why do we get undefined? Because the string is not defined. So treat numbers and string just like a variable. We need to pass in number and string right here. So first parameter is number, so we have to pass a argument, like let's say 2, and let's put the string here. Let's say string is here, and now if we go here, we can see string is here consoled, because it is just like a variable. So if we do not pass this, this would just be undefined. So string is now undefined, as we get undefined. It is just like a variable. So let's log out the number, and we can see that the number is right here, 2. So yeah, this is how we pass in arguments, and we can access it in the function. So let's think of it like this: we define what a function will do first, and then we call the function with the arguments. Let's say we wanna pass in number. Let's remove the string and let's talk about numbers for a while. So this part is the argument. So when we call the function, whatever we pass in is the argument, and when we define the function, whatever we take in is the parameter. As you can see, it is highlighting parameter, and as you can see, it should highlight argument. Okay, it doesn't for some reason, I don't know why, but yeah, it is an argument, and this is the parameter, and this is the function statement, and this is how we call the function. We've known this for let's see what happens next. So return statement, as I've mentioned, whatever you want to get back from that function. So whatever we are getting back from this function is not logged here, because we haven't logged whatever we get from this function. Let's do that. Let's do this, and we should get 4. And yes, we get 4, and we get 2 right here. Let's comment this one out to avoid confusion. So what happens here is, in this square function, we pass in 2, and the function takes in number, which is 2, and then returns 2 into 2, which is 4. So we get 4 return. Let's do 3 right here, and we get 9, because the same way the square function is taking the number and then doing number into number, or 3 into 3, and we're getting a 9 in return. We can do addition or multiplication or anything whatever we want. So yeah, this is the part, parameter and argument. So I wanted to talk about callback function, but let's understand function a bit more. Calling function, we just saw how to call a function. So we do the function name and the brackets. So this is how we call a function, and in between those brackets we pass in arguments. Let's say we do 3 and 4. Now we should get 6 because we're doing number plus number. No second parameter is defined here. Let's say the second parameter would be number 2. So this is the 4 is now number 2. Let's log number 2 and we should get 4 here, and yes, we get 4, and we get returned number plus number, which is 3 plus 3 or 6. Okay, so let's see, we are calling functions like this. Function scope, so there's a specific scope of a function. We should be talking about scope a bit later. Let's not understand, but well, let's try to understand the very basics. So scope is basically where the function is available. This function will not be available everywhere. It has a specific scope, and that's pretty much it. Let's talk about scope and other stuff in our upcoming videos. Recursion is also for later, not for now. Let's go ahead, closures, later, using the arguments object. Okay. Nah. Function parameters. Okay, so there we have some default parameters as well. Let's say number equal to will be 1, let's say. So now what happens if we don't pass a number and we pass in undefined instead? So let's see, we get returned 2. Let's just understand what happens here. I wanted to comment this part out. Let's comment the second argument out and understand what's going on here. So if we pass in undefined as a argument, so the number will be undefined as well, and we should get nan, not a number, because we are passing in undefined and then we are doing undefined plus undefined, which is not a number. But if we do pass undefined as the number parameter and then we return the number, we get undefined. But if we were to avoid this, let's say we pass in undefined by mistake, we can say number should be by default should be 1. So now we get returned 1 because undefined is now ignored. This is the default value. So in function arguments, parameter, this is the parameter, my bad. So in function parameters, we can say that this should be the default value. So let's say we pass in undefined or we pass in something else, which is not what it should be. So it is the default value. So it will ignore. Let's say we pass in null, which is an empty value, as we know. So what do we get? We get null in return. Okay, so default value is ignored as well in terms of null, because null is specifically an empty value, not undefined. So it works in terms of undefined only, I think. But yeah, so if we pass undefined, then the default value is automatically taken for this context. If we do number plus number, we'll get 2 because 1 plus 1 equal to 2. Undefined is now ignored. If we do number equal to 4, we get 8 because 4 plus 4 is 8. So this is the default value here. If for some reason we do not pass in anything, we don't even pass undefined, so we still should get 8 because this is the default value. We can define default parameter in our functions to avoid such scenarios. So as you can see, we have in this function we have not passed the second argument here. As we can see, this function multiply, which takes a and b as their parameter here. So argument, in terms of argument, we have just passed 5, which is taken by a, and b is now undefined because we haven't even given anything to b, we haven't even given undefined. So what the function is doing here is checking b equal to type of b is not equal to undefined. So type of would return what is the type. So if it is not undefined, it should return b or it should return 1. So we are doing 5 into 1, we get 5. Let's do only return b, and let's see what do we get. We should get 1. And yeah, we get 1 because it is the if else ternary, as you remember from my last video. And this code is a bit complex for you guys, I would say, but let's try to understand what's going on. So it is saying b equal to type of b is not, strictly not, as we've seen now in our last video, strictly not undefined. If it is not undefined, then return b, or if it is undefined, then return 1. So it is just similar to saying this, pretty much the same. Let's say 2, and we get 2 here because we are passing in default variable b here. Even if it is undefined in terms of argument, it would still get 2 from here by default. Okay, so as we can see here, they have defined b as well by default, and they didn't pass the second argument. So that's how it takes 1 and then do a into b, or 5 into 1, which returns 5. Okay, so rest argument like spread operator, we should talk about these in a later video. Let's see the arrow function. We have already talked about arrow function. So it is essentially, let's understand what's an anonymous function. So this is just an anonymous function. Let's say log hello. Okay, so this is just an anonymous function. So how do we call this function? Is there any way to call this function? So normally what we do is call a function like this, square, and then call like this, right? So now it should get square is not defined because square actually is not defined. So this is an anonymous function. This is still a function, but we don't know the name of this function because it is an anonymous function. It has no name. So let's assign it to square instead. Square, and then it's still not defined. Okay, that's wrong. Let's see. 431 square count square equal to it should actually work now. I'm not sure what's going on. Oh, it's saying hello is not defined. My bad. I thought what's going on, it should have worked. So I have passed tried to pass a variable. Let's pass in string, and as you can see, it's hello. It is returning hello. So as I've mentioned previously, arrow function, if it is a one-liner, so like this, it will automatically return a statement. But if we do a curly bracket like this, it will not return anything. It is not returning anything, but it is just logging this line. Let's try to get something from here. Let's say return 2, and now if we log this function, we can set any return statement we want, like we can say return 2, 3, anything. And as you can see, we get 2 from here, returned 2. So if it is a one-liner, let's say let's comment this line out. Just put it in a separate. This part is called a code block, by the way, in a second bracket type thing. And let's do 2 here only, and we get 2 because it is returning 2. Let's say 4, we get 4. It is directly returning 4. So we, in normal functions, we have to say return this, return that. But in an arrow function or an anonymous function, we just have to define what we should return. Let's say we want to return 10 and we get return 10 here. So this is an anonymous function. Just do square bracket and then equal and then greater than, and then just define whatever you want to do. Let's say hello, we want to say hello. But the issue is, how do we invoke this function? We should assign it to some variable. Let's say the variable or the function name should be hello. So this is a constant variable actually, but we are assigning this function to this constant variable, and now we can call this function like this, hello. So what this is doing actually, let's say we want to call an anonymous function. How do we do it? We should just do another bracket. Okay, it doesn't work like this, I see. Maybe I need to wrap it in another thing. Maybe no. There is a way to run this function. Let's see how to run anonymous function in JavaScript. Okay, anonymous function instantly in JavaScript, let's say. So they're saying we should assign a variable, but I don't want to do that. Okay, like this. But that's the function statement. I don't want to do this. But let's still do that and see what happens. So this is a function statement, and then we are doing the invocation instantly. So let's see, what do we get returned? So let's log this whole code out. Let's just put this whole thing to log. So if we don't put anything in log, we will not get in the edit in the log. So this log is only we can access this by using console log or console.dir or other console stuff. So this is just console log. So we are logging out this whole function, which is invoked instantly like this, Ellie. Okay, so let's try the same thing with an arrow function. I'm not sure why I can't do that. It should work now. Yeah, it is working. So there was something wrong with the other line of my code. Let's do this instead. We don't need return statement if it is a one-liner. Return hello. Okay, so I think I was not logging it. The main problem was that I wasn't just logging it, and you should be able to call anonymous function or normal functions as well, just like I've shown you guys here. But in order to do that, we have to wrap it inside first bracket. But if I save and then do this, this function is being called instantly. So this function has no name. As you can see, it is an anonymous function as well. It is being executed instantly, but if I do assign it a name, would it still work? I'm not sure. Let's see. Function log. Oh, my bad. Okay, yeah, so it does work. So in order to invoke a function instantly, we have to do this. Let's say function not square, and then do it like this, return 1, and then we have to wrap the whole function inside a first bracket, and then we have to do another combination of first bracket. So normally how we would call this function, and then put the whole thing into a log. So what's happening here is we are calling this function instantly, and it is returning 1, as you can see in the log, but it is returning 1 from the function, but we are not logging it, so we did not see 1 previously. So we can do this with named function or anonymous function or arrow function, whatever we want. We can call a function instantly like this, and then get the result in the log or anywhere you want actually. So function is basically used for to reduce repetitive task. How? Let's see. Let's say I want to log. Logging is pretty small task, but let's say function log 100 hello. Not 100 hello, but let's do just hello. Log hello, let's say, not 100 hello. Okay. So now we have defined a function like this, log hello, but we cannot see the result because we haven't called the function yet. Let's go ahead and just call the function, and we get hello now. If we log it, we want to log it once again, we just call the function and we can log it like this. I know you must be thinking, like, if I were to log things like this, I would just use a for loop or a while loop and get the job done like that, right? But what if we want to pass an argument? Let's say the name, let's say the name, and we do hello plus name. Okay, so now what happens? Hello undefined, because we have not passed anything here. Let's say hello Sajad, and we get hello Sajad here. Let's do a plus empty space here, and we get hello Sajad. Let's go hello Rifat. So what is happening here? Basically, we are taking in an argument of a name and then adding it to this hello plus empty string plus the name string. So what is this name getting here is the same variable whatever we are passing in. We are doing it like this, hello Sajjad, but we're just passing in a variable. So think of this parameter as a variable. We are passing in a variable here, let's say Arshad. Okay, so now we should get hello Arshad. So we can we can put a string as an argument, or we can do const name2 equal to Arshad, let's say, and instead of this string we pass in name2. So it is the same thing. This name2 contains the same string as Arshad, and we are passing in the same variable, which is getting here as name. In the function definition, we are getting it as name, and then we are saying we are logging out hello, and then we are just adding an empty string, and then we are adding the name, whatever we get from this argument. So this is how functions work. Functions just take an input like this, name2 or whatever you put in here, let's say Minha here. So, and then we pass in the name Minha, and then we say hello, and then empty space, and then the name Minha. So this is how functions work, and I wanted to show you guys how. Okay, let's see arrow functions, shorter functions. Okay, so let's see. No, separate this. Okay, this is a bit advanced topic, let's not go there. Let's talk about predefined functions. Okay, there are some functions in JavaScript which we can use, but let's not use them right away. Let's use the isNan function. Okay, so we can do log is not a number, and then pass a string sad. Let's see. Okay, isNan is not defined. Maybe it is not called just like this. Let's see. Oh, number.isNan, my bad. Let's do that. Number.isNan, and we get number.isNan is not a function still. Okay, isNan should work normally. I'm not sure why it is not working. IsNan function is converting the value into a number. Oh, we have an alternative like number.isNaN as well, and they're saying we should use that. Let's do number.isNaN, and we still get is not a function. Okay, why is it not a function? Let's do 2. Number.isNaN is not a function. Let's see what it is. Create undefined. Okay. Okay, so there are some JavaScript built-in functions in there. Like let's say, let's use the ones that I know. Let's say math.floor. So it will just round up a number to the lowest part. Let's say 4.333. It would just round out to 4. Yeah, so the number is 4. Let's do math.ceil or ceiling. It will take it to the higher number, let's say 4.333, so it would take to 5. But if we do floor, it takes to 4. So this is there are some built-in math functions as well in JavaScript. There are some other functions, like this console log itself is a function. As you can see, it is taking this argument. Whatever we put here, hello, so this is an argument. Whatever we are passing here is an argument, and this is a function. This console.log function is taking our argument and then treating it as a variable and receiving it and then logging out to the console like this. Okay, so let's talk about callback functions. What are callback functions? A callback function is a function passed into another function as an argument. So this is the main part. We need to understand this very clearly. So a callback function is just a function which is being passed into another function as an argument. As you can see, we have passed other arguments here. Let's say if we were to pass a function into this, let's see an example right here, name, and then let's say func. Let's say we want the name to be func, and let's define the function right here, function func. And what this function func does is log function is here. Okay, so let's say we want to log out the func, and we also want to log out the name, let's say. Okay, let's call the main function. The main function is this log hello. Let's do log hello, and then pass in the name, let's say Arshad, and let's pass in the function. So in this case, we are passing in this whole function as an argument. Let's do func like this, and let's see the log. What do we get? We get the whole function like this. This is the whole function func, the same function, curly braces, and then console log function is here. This has put in the exact same function inside of it. And let's say we want to invoke this function right here. We want to call this function right here. Let's do that. And what do we get? We get function is here. As you can see on line 464. Check out this line 464. Okay, 464 is giving undefined. Wait. 468 is giving function is here. Okay, my bad. So we are invoking the function here, so it is returning undefined because this function has not returned anything. Whenever you call a function, it should return something, or it should return undefined by default automatically. And as we can see here, we get undefined at line 464 because this function is not returning anything. Let's do some spacing, and let's say another log null, let's say. So now the 465 should return 464 should return undefined because this function is not returning anything. As you can see, the func function is not returning anything, it is just logging out. Let's do return 2, and now we'll get 464, the value is 2 because we are returning 2. Whenever we are not returning anything, it will return undefined automatically by default. Okay, so as you can see, we have called the function here and logged in this line. So logging and returning has nothing to do with each other, but without invoking the function we cannot read what's inside it. Let's say we cannot execute this function and get the console log out of it without calling the function. Let's say we did not call the function here, and now it should just return the function definition, the whole function. Let's say func, my bad, let's go to console and we can see func, the whole function. Basically it's the same function, as you can see, the same function. If we add another line here, let's say whatever, hey, and now we get hey here as well. It is just giving you back the whole function, and we can invoke the function here as well, and it is returning 2. So in line 464 we are getting return 2 here because the function is now returning 2. If this function didn't return 2, it would just say undefined for line 464. Understand this very clearly. So we're not returning anything from this function. We have invoked the function here, function func, and we're logging whatever is the return value. There is no return value, so we are getting undefined in line 464. But if we were to return 2, we get 2 from here in line 464 because we are logging whatever we are getting back from the function in return value. So in return we have defined 2, so we are getting 2 in the log. Let's say 5, and we should get 5 here. And in line 465 I have logged null here. Let's delete this. So this is how we can pass in callback functions. So callback functions are just a function which is passed into another function as an argument. As you can see, it is an argument. When we are invoking a function, we are passing in arguments, and if we pass in functions as an argument, that's the callback function. So that's pretty much it. As we can see, let's see their example. Let value equal to 1, do something. Okay, the something is value should be 2. Okay, so what's happening here? Let's understand this. This is a good example. So we are doing the, let's comment these out. Now we are defining a variable of value. Value is 1. So this is a function. As you can see, it is an arrow function. So do something is a function, and it is saying value should be 2. Do something is not defined. Of course, I was thinking, why is it not happening? Let's say function do something, and it just does log hello. Okay, so what's happening here? Let's understand this. So do something is a function itself, right? So we have defined the do something function here, which is just logging hello. And as you can see, we are also calling the function, so we get logged hello here. So now if we were to pass a function into this, let's say, which is setting value to 2, so value is not still 2 because this function inside of it is not invoked yet. Let's say we receive a function, we have to receive a function, and then we call the function like this, and now we get the value as 2. Whenever you want to do something with function, we must call that function, otherwise we won't get the result we want. So in this example, do something is taking this function. This is a function, as you can see. If we paste it separately, this is an arrow function. This is not returning anything, but this is setting the value variable to 2. But it will not work until we receive the function here and we call it. As we can see, if we comment out the calling part, we get, okay, what is the error here exactly? Oh, I have passed in a semicolon, my bad. Okay, so the value is still 1, as you can see, because we have not called this function yet. Let's wrap it inside this, and let's call the function instantly, as we've seen previously. So now we get 2 because we're calling this function right here. Let's go back to our old way and we can do this as well. We have to receive the function in the parameter, and then we have to call the function to get the result we want. Okay, so this is pretty much it about callback function. As you can see here in MDN, it has not talked about much as well, because there's nothing much to talk about at all. So callback functions are just functions that will be passed as an argument, and then the function definition can call the function or do something with it. Yeah, that's pretty much it about callback functions. I wanted to talk about callback functions before jumping into the DOM once again, because in DOM or document object model, there's a lot of event handlers which will take callback functions as an argument, and I wanted to make sure that you guys understood what I was saying about those actually. Yeah, so let's wrap up, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much, and I will link this callback function and normal function in description as well. If you didn't understand anything, as usual, if you didn't understand anything, comment down below, or you can contact me directly as well. Okay, thank you very much. I will see you guys in the next video.